job now.
I've been looking for it. I think I found something to help with easing the pain. This voice inside my head isn't dead. I think it's growing. Soon we will be one and the same. I've been going to the racetrack. Spent all my money on the dog in the bed. I put my heart into an 8-track. How about that? My life was perfect, now it's starting to crack. Oh no.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the E-BaTCC BMW Turbo Cup 2025. It is a new year and a new season of the virtual Baltic Touring Car Championship, and we've got the new BMW Turbo Cup class coming in. The new regulations are there for the real series this year, and we'll get a first taste of these new cars right here on World Sim Series. We're starting out the season at in Lithuania at the Nemuno Ziedas circuit, an old, very old track with some new sections laid out on the real circuit. We don't have that yet in the simulator, but this track always provides some very tight racing and a lot of action and sometimes quite a few accidents. Leading the qualifying session at the moment is the fastest driver in pre-qualifying, Grantas Kretskas, winner of last year's Dream to Drive competition in front of Viglione and Svetens. That is your top three at the moment, and I'm joined, as always, by Laurinas.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the new season. I believe it's already 6th year as we organize the virtual E-BaTCC Championship. And what a nice way to start the new season with a brand new vehicle, which was freshly reproduced regarding the new series that we will have in the real championship. So the virtual cars will start the season a little bit earlier than the real versions, but it's already a very nice visual on the racetrack to see the cars driving around the Lithuanian racetrack. And it's not going to take too long as we will greet the cars on the real tracks. But first we have to figure out who will become the champion of this season. As usual, LIK Racing, powered by KTK Racing division, joins this championship and offers nice prizes on the table for the champion and also for two fastest drivers who have never competed in any BATCC series. They will get their chance to put their hands on the real version of this car, which they will get to know quite good during the 5 rounds of this championship, during the races and also during the preparation part. They are the first to try out the new machinery. So a lot of prizes offered on the table, and really worth putting the best efforts for every driver participating in this championship. And right now it looks like it's a very tough competition. The pre-qualifying session has seen quite a lot of drivers being very close to each other, and it's no other situation during the qualifying session. Just look at the times, how many drivers are within a couple of tenths of each other. This is the first division of this race. I think we have 4 divisions this evening, and race is definitely tight in every one of them. So excited to see who will come out on top in the first qualifying session, but currently Grantas Kretskas, the young Lithuanian driver, the Dream to Drive champion of year 2024, is currently in the lead to no one's surprise.
Yep, and the new car already almost 2 seconds quicker than our pole time last year. Ungurs took the pole last year with a 1 minute 17.5. This year we're already at a 1:15.8, so the new car working well, even if the drivers are maybe not as used to it as they were with the old machinery that they had, but the new car proving to be about 2 seconds quicker around a track where it's difficult to gain time. So a lot of gain just from the extra engine power and the extra torque that you have from the turbocharged motor in these BMWs, still on the same Nankang tire. So that stays exactly the same. It's just a new car that we've got, and 2 seconds quicker already. We'll see if throughout the season, maybe the drivers will find even more pace throughout the races, and maybe we'll see some more track records broken. But from the E-BaTCC side, the first track record has already fallen, and it for now goes the way of Grantas Kratis. Whoever takes pole here will have the track record. Then Ziedas goes quicker, still a 10th off pole, but he is now in to P2. We'll have 2 races tonight. The second race will be a reverse of the top 10 finishing order from race 1. See if anybody can still improve. Viglione, Kashoni, Svetens. Those are the chasers. Grantas Kratskas. Well, he's at the front. We'll see if he finds any more time to improve. Ziedas is back into the pits, as is Viglione as well. So Kashoni, Svetens, I would say, are the most likely to get up to pole, or at least improve their position. Starting position quite important here to not get involved in too many accidents out on track.
Kajoni made the first sector personal best for himself, but left a little bit of time somewhere in the mid-sector and decided to call it the day, goes back into the pit lane. So that means he's gonna start the race from 4th place, the maximum. We are currently on a, let's say, faster version of the Nemuno Ziedas racetrack, because there is no chicane presented in this round, and I have to go quickly through the calendar, but I believe nope, that's gonna be the one race at Lithuanian racetrack in this virtual championship. I thought we will have a couple of those, as we will have in the real season. Oh, Talianos goes P5. He was leading the pre-qualifying session for quite some time, so he knows his way around the circuit. After he finishes his run, he successfully puts his car right onto that hill of the Nemuno Ziedas track.
So Grantas Kratskas on pole position for race 1, and it's a Lithuanian and Dream to Drive lockout of the front row of the grid. It's Kratskas and Ziedas first and second. Viglione, Kashoni take the second row of the grid. Then it's Talianos, Svetens, Meškelis, Jofer, Narbudas, Nani. That is your top 10. Then comes Malakauskas and Spef down in 12th. A little bit of a surprise to see him that far down the grid. Bielskus, Doppio, Vincenchik, Vilk, Kalninch, Juodis, Straupe, Janušaitis, Kovalevski, Jansons, Gagliardini, and Vaškevičius rounds out the field. From pole to last, it's only a 8/10 difference. So the field is definitely very, very close as we line up for race 1 of the new season.
Everybody getting prepared for the first round, for the first race. No chicane for the drivers, meaning they will go to a very reasonable speed until they reach the second corner of the racetrack. I believe the first one should be quite a safe one because it's a relatively fast corner, and since the cars are starting the race from standing positions, they will not gain too much of speed, but let's wait out and see. The start is about to get rolling. We will get plenty of action shortly.
And we're off for round one of the E-BaTCC. Gantas Kratsik gets a good getaway, and very good getaway to lead the field, and actually by quite a bit of a margin from a standing start over Edna Ziedas, who keeps hold of second. It's side by side all throughout the field. Be careful not to push somebody out into the gravel. Somebody off already, up into the air and flips. I think that's Talianos and Nani being involved in that one. Those are two drivers that have dropped down the field, and it's actually a pretty clean run through turn 2. It was turn 1 that was the choke point, and those two, they started up at the front of the field, so unfortunate for them. But Grantas Kratskas now leads the race about half a second. That is his advantage at the top of the field. And everybody separated by very, very small margins. This is Bielskus under... well, he's putting pressure on Malakauskas. There's a side-by-side action in front as well with, I think that was Jofert, Mishkandis, and Svetens. Oh, and that's a spin, and a spin for Speff. Yep, that is a spin for Simon Speff.
Yep, so he outbraked himself and went straight through the grass, straight into another car. The driver who who lost most was Simon Speff himself. He's back on the racetrack, but that's gonna be a very hard race for Simon Speff.
Actually, most positions lost is Talianos. He's down 14. He was involved in that lap 1 takeoff. Januszaitis up 12 at the start.
Yep,
is that right?
Yep, it is. You gain and lose during the race start, and well, someone was involved in an accident, and there was a couple of smart guys who knew their way around the accidents happening on the racetrack. And now they are enjoying themselves. And by the way, Januszaitis gained 12 places, and he also is currently on the provisional pole position. Remember, the top 10 finishers will start in a reversed order. So
he strangely, even though it says 12, he actually gained 10. Because he started down in 20th, and he's up to 10th, so he gained 10, not 12.
Yep, so...
just a strange timing screen going a little bit crazy, thinking a bit too much of a gain, but didn't gain that much. But still, 10 positions is huge on lap 1 on a track where you don't really have big braking zones.
Edvin Žadeikis puts the fastest lap time of the race, and he was actually 2/10 faster than the current leader, Grantas Kratskas. So the fight is on, though the gap is 0.4 of a second. It's not too big, as we still have 16 minutes on the clock, and there's plenty of fight on the track. We currently ride with Svetens, who was also very fast during the pre-qualifying round. He's now trying to chase down Jofert for P5. Remember, Jofert, I believe, was very strong in the previous season, as he also was very quick in the final round, which took place at Nemuno Ziedas racetrack. So he's back. He's currently 6th, but not giving up, and trying to do his best. Edvin Žadeikis and Grantas Kratskas still running really tight. 0.4 of a second, I think that's Jofert. That's Jofert running wide, as you can see on the right side of your screens, rubbing and scrubbing. And Meškelis comes from behind. Meškelis currently 7th. He was a little bit more careful in that situation, though he had a very nice chance to pick up a couple of places. Nemuno Ziedas is not the most comfortable track to make some moves. But you have to be smart, you have to stay close to your rivals and always try to catch up with the least possible chance. But he stays behind.
Quicker this time. He's gained time. He's gained 2/10 over Žadeikis, who we kind of expected to stay very close behind because of the slipstream. But now with Kratskas breaking the slipstream, getting further and further away, if he breaks a second here, I think that's going to be, well, almost game over for Žadeikis to catch back up. Well, at least going to be super duper difficult. Viglione behind these two, but he's also a little bit back. He was 7/10 back as they crossed the line last time, so the gap's stabilizing at the front of the field. We'll see what Grantas Kratskas can do on this lap. Can he go any quicker? Can he take back the fastest lap of the race? And again, whoever wins this one, he's going to start last in the next... he's going to start 10th in the next one, but difficult to make moves. So we'll see how they do in the second race. Grantas goes quicker again in terms of lap time, another 2/10 gained at the front of the field. So he's looking comfortable, and if he doesn't make any more mistakes, if he doesn't make any mistakes, he's not made a mistake until now, so he continues to run this kind of pace, he'll be unstoppable. This is Gaglianindi.
Yep, versus
Giardini.
Vincentic. Vincentic trying to gain one spot and put himself into P14. Both of the cars are a little bit further behind Ziedas, who is in 13th, but those battles will happen and continue throughout the field. Still plenty of time on the clock. Oh, it's 14 minutes. I was trying to figure out which clock shows the correct time, because the clock on top of the leaderboard only shows the in-game time at this moment. It's 16.5 to my understanding, and 13 and a half minutes till the end of this race. So the drivers still will have their chances, and we have a four-way battle running down the hill into turn 1. That's Miškelis, Kašoni, Bielskus, and Malakauskas, I believe. 4 cars. There's someone's off the racetrack. There is someone off the racetrack. I think this...
And we lost one of the 4. That was Malakauskas. We've lost Malakauskas from this battle. He was off in turn 1 as well. But no idea who else was off at turn 1 and standing still. Could that be Kovalevsky, who's down a lap?
Not sure, but there might have been some oil on the circuit. That's why we have seen a lot of cars going off the racetrack. Not sure if there is a thing of a virtual oil on the track. I'm pretty sure there is not, but it looked like that. And we are on board with Kašoni, looking back at Bielskus and looking ahead at Miškelis from our 2 camera view angle. And this is a very nice spot to find ourselves right at this moment. Miškelis 6th, Bielskus 7th, Kašoni tries to stay P7. Vilk is now up to 10th. Janušaitis is down in 20th. He started 20th. He was up into 10th, and now he lost that provisional pole position and is nowhere to be seen. So maybe Janušaitis was one of the cars who was off the racetrack, as we find ourselves in the middle of a very interesting battle. Let's join the track from some other angles and try to go through the grid to understand what's happening. But it looks like this is a very nice battle for P6 between 3 cars. Do we have more battles in front? I believe it's a more spread out field between the drivers. Also, Kareckas is already 1 second ahead of Edvinas Žadeikis. What about our provisional pole position? So Vilk is currently 10th. He is 6/10 behind Narbutas and 1 second and 3/10 ahead of Straupe and Ziedas. So this is definitely not the end in the battle for pole position for race 1. Remember, I think in the past seasons we had top 6 drivers getting a start in a reverse order. This time top 10 drivers will start the race in a very unusual way.
Actually, last year we did have top 10 reversed as well.
Oh, we did. Okay, so my memory is a little bit short now, but I kind of remember having 6 drivers reversing. There's still someone standing on the racetrack. That's Kovalevsky. Does he have some issues? I'm not sure. This is, I think, the third lap in a row when the driver is stationary on the racetrack as we join a battle between Kashoni and Meškelis, and side by side down the hill into the Ąžuolas corner. Meškelis being one of the smarter ones. He needs to stay tight on the outside. On the exit of the corner he does so, but now he is vulnerable and Bielskus is joining the party. So let's hop on board together with Bielskus to see how this battle will end out. Looks like Bielskus was a little bit too hot on the brakes. Meškelis manages to defend the 6th spot at this moment. Nice and clever driving.
He gave a nice slipstream to Bielskus behind, trying to get him to fight Kashoni, and Kashoni had to go, well, he didn't really go defensive, but he had a car on his right-hand side, compromised his entry down into the turn. So now Kashoni more under pressure from Bielskus behind, and he's putting pressure on Meškelis, and that's really the only way you're going to get out of a draft here is if you make somebody else fight, as Meškelis goes very wide. Everybody goes wide, but Meškelis extremely wide, and he's going to be under pressure once again as they roll back down the hill. Bielskus not really in contention here again. He's dropped back behind these two. So Meškelis needs to find a way to either hold on in front or somehow get Bielskus to overtake Kashoni. And that would be his chance to get away. It's very much like pack racing here. A lot of slipstreaming. So even drivers that might be a little bit slower, they're able to stay behind just because they've got the draft and they can stick in the draft. This is Simon Speff. He's on his recovery drive. He's got Talianos and Nani behind him. Free drivers that we do normally expect to see at the front of the field. This time, struggling pretty heavily. Well, all of them involved in incidents, but it wasn't exactly the perfect qualifying, especially for Speff. And that imperfect qualifying, well, it's kind of led to this as well. I'm not saying that any of the incidents they were involved in were their fault. We didn't really even see them, but the further back you start, the bigger chance you have of getting involved in an incident. 8 minutes to go here in race 1. This is again side by side. Kashoni, I think, has the overlap this time, gets the move done. He's been waiting for that for a while. This is on board with Bielskus, who's going to have a chance at Meškelis here. They're going to rub sides as they head down through the right. It's going to be advantage Meškelis in terms of line, advantage Bielskus in terms of grip on the outside lane, as he's still there, and I think he might just about be able to hold on to the position. Bielskus up a place, Meškelis down 2 in the span of, well, 3 corners. So it worked last lap, it didn't work this lap. We'll see if he can try and regain his position, but they can't fight too much. They've got Narbutas and Vilk right behind them, closing in as these two fight. And Kashoni, well, he's checked out. He said see you later because he's out, and he's out of the slipstream heavily. A little bit wide from Bielskus.
Yep.
Might be a chance for Meškelis to do the same thing that Kashoni did to him just a lap ago.
Oh, Bielskus making another small mistake, was a little bit too fast into that corner. It looks like he has a very nice exit, but look at the gap Kashoni was able to find for himself as these two drivers behind him were involved in a battle. Bielskus trying to use all the width of the racetrack available for him, but you don't want to run your car too wide there, because whenever two wheels clip that gravel, you get a very slow exit out of that Ąžuolas corner, and you lose all that straight speed. So even though the drivers are pushing to the maximum, they always have to think about the characteristics of the racetrack, and they cannot afford themselves the tiniest mistake, especially when they are in such a close battle. With 5.5 minutes on the clock, Narbutas and Vilk are gaining on these two drivers. Look how much slower they are on on the track as they continue their fight. Well, the previous lap was pretty okay because they were running just one behind each other, no side by side on the track, so they managed to get back into the usual pace, and they are on a very similar pace. And if you look through the times, through the lap times of the drivers in the top 12 places, you will find very small, tiny gaps, except for Grantas Kareckas. He's one of the faster ones, and Viglione was also very fast. Meškelis is running sideways on the exit. This battle is far from over. This is a fight for P7, and whoever finishes lower, that driver will start higher. Ooh. Look at Adam Kashani. He made a mistake on himself, by himself. Wow. And Meškelis runs wide, so this is getting really, really hot on the track. It looked like it's game over. It's job done for Kashani in that battle for P5. It's actually not. He's now down in P8 and having Narbutas right on his tail. This is a really nice battle building up and shaping up. Bielskus tries to lose the tail and gain some advantage, but as you have already witnessed, we sometimes might face those small mistakes which cost quite a lot.
Yep, and a few drivers making a mistake there, and Kashani very much unforced mistake. He's dropped down to 8th now, having to defend his 8th position as well from Narbutas under pressure. And Bielskus actually doing well to stay ahead of Meškelis. It didn't look like that a few laps ago. It didn't look like he'd be able to hold on.
Yep.
Very, very tight on the exit there. Both of them clipping the gravel on the exit, but it is a better exit for Narbutas. He's going to be on that outside lane, and we saw Bielskus make the move around the outside. Won't happen for Narbutas here. Bit of a push in the back saying, let's go. And a little bit wide again from Kashani. He's feeling the pressure.
Did he overcook his tires? He might have overcooked his tires. By the way, the drivers started this race on preheated tires, so that's why we have seen battles straight after the start. You don't have to warm up your tires. You have warm rubber ready on your car. But this might be an indicator that Kashani has just simply overheated his virtual rubber.
It looks like he's just making mistakes. He's coming in super tight, and this is, I think now finally Narbutas is gonna get that move done, because Kashani came in super tight into turn 1, went out very, very wide on the exit, and well, that's what happens if you do mistakes like that. He's still in there, but nope, backs out of it and back into line, but this time with Narbutas in P8. Let's see if Kashani can get that position back, but this is shaping up to be a pretty big battle for P10. Vilk right behind. That's your golden ticket for pole position on for race 2, but Straupe is there as well right behind this battle. And incoming as well is Ziedas into this one. So from 8 to 12, these cars are almost nose to tail. At least 4 are nose to tail now. Straupe in this one as well. So this is a big battle for that pole position and points as well, championship points. Those count as well. It's not just pole position for race 2, it's championship points, and very valuable championship points. Only 5 rounds, well, 2 races in each, but sometimes you can lose a championship by a point. Running wide is Narbutas this time. This is going to be Kashani doing the exact same thing that Narbutas did to him last time, but side by side as they run down the hill. A little bit fast from Kashani, but I don't think it's too fast as he gets it stopped on the apex. Now side by side they run. This is advantage Kashani as to the inside. Tries going Vilk. Doesn't happen.
Yeah, but he had a very tight entry. Very smart driving by Narbutas. He forced Kashani to take that very tight line and force him to stay in on the inside. Now he holds the better line into the chicane corner as we see other battles in the background happening between Straupe and Ziedas, I believe. And this is a very nice side-by-side between Kashani and Narbutas. This time Kashani has the position, but here comes Wilk from behind. Straupe is also there. Good news for Narbutas. He gained a little bit advantage as the drivers will start the final lap of the first race. A little bit of rubbing, and I think Ziedas is off.
Straight into the pit lane. Oh, and into the wall as well. Well, we've seen a crash here in real life. Hopefully it doesn't end as badly as it did then. Car's standing still. He can't go anywhere. And that is your battle for 10th kind of done. It was a battle for 11th as well. Vilk now confirmed at least 10th, unless these two get into an accident themselves. But I don't think they'll want to, and I think Vilk can just back off and stay in 10th and have pole position for the next one. But I think to the inside, and Kashoni doesn't fight him too much, so he might actually want that pole position. And Grantas Karatskas coming up at the, well, I don't think it's the highest point. I think he'll approach the highest point of the circuit now, but this was a dominant performance. Not to say that we didn't expect it, but 3.5 seconds around a track like this is very, very impressive. Ahead of Ziedas, and Viglione takes third. Fourth is gonna go the way of Svetens. Then it's Jofert, Belskus.
Yeah, a little bit of a mix-up standings now as some of the drivers are going back into the pit lane and the others stay on the racetrack. This was tight, but look, Wilk managed to take that 9th spot. So Kashoni will start the second race from first, and having that pace, starting from first position for the second run, I'm pretty sure Kashoni will have some very nice chances to clinch that win in the second race, because the faster drivers will be stuck behind their rivals for a slightly longer time, and especially they will have to be very careful as they will be slightly faster than the drivers ahead. They will have to kind of be more careful. Let's go quickly through the final results of the first race, and we will take a very short break before the second race start. So Grantas Karetskas taking the win, Ziedas finishing second, Viglione third, Svetins fourth, Jofert fifth, Bielsku sixth, Meškelis seventh, Narbutas eighth, Vilk ninth, and Kashoni taking 10th finishing 10th and taking that pole position for the second run. Vincenčik, Malakauskas, Gagliardinis, Peth, Talianos, Juodis, Nani, Vaškevičius, Janušaitis, Jansons, Kalninš, Dopijos, Straupe, and Kovalevsky are your other finishers in the same way I have read through the name. So let's take a quick commercial break, and we will be back with more action from the racetrack.
Gear up for the ride of your life. Shop now.
I've been looking for it. I think I found something to help with easing the pain. This voice inside my head isn't dead. I think it's growing. Soon we will be one and the same. I've been going to the racetrack. Spent all my money on the dog in the bed. I put my heart into an 8-track. How about that? My life was perfect, now it's starting to crack. Oh no.
Welcome back to the second race of the first round. Adam Kashoni will start the race from pole position, followed by Vilk and other drivers, as we already prepare ourselves for the starting procedure.
And we're off for race 2. Adam Kashoni gets a decent start, but not as good as what Grantas Kratskas had in race 1. Vilk now has a chance down into turn 1 to get a move done, and he does, up into the lead. And, well, Kashoni's pole position lasted for about 400 meters. He's out of it now, and under pressure, Kratskas up into 9th. And holding on to position for now. Ziedas is down to 11th. So big change for Ziedas as well to drop positions off the line. And now there's a big battle in front. Kratskas needs to be careful. Somebody off into the grass, jumping around. Almost taking out the two leaders of race 1. Svetens rides the bank and gets back onto the track, and this is Vashkavich, who was off and more heavily off, as Vilk still leads the race. Ziedas in 8th, Kratskas in 9th, so that battle continues, and if Ziedas can get onto the back of Kratskas, Kratskas might be able to just pull him along. Viglione still there. He was in the top 3, so he's ahead of Kratskas by 1 as Viglione fights Jofert and Meshkalis up in front. There's still that battle for the lead. Kashoni and Vilk still battling between each other, and they're slowing themselves down, giving more of a chance to the guys behind to catch up and take their positions away. Around the outside goes Kashoni, taking a lot of risk.
Oh, there's gonna be tight again.
It's gonna be super tight, but I think Kashoni might just about do it this time. Contact from behind. This is Viglione now.
They have to slow down.
Position, big bump in the back, and actually helps. I think that's Meshkalis in front to get in front. And to get forward, because he was slowing down, got a big punch up the rear on the exit and gained a position. So Meshkalis in 4th, Viglione in 5th, Narbutas in 6th, 7 for Kratskas, 8 for Ziedas. That's your running order so far. Kashoni leads this one ahead of Vilk and ahead of Jofert behind. If any of them can find any way past. Narbutas opens up the inside, and Kratskas has found a way through. Gets 1 and puts a car in between himself and Ziedas, P1 and P2 in race 1, but Narbutas coming back at Kratskas. Ziedas trying to find that position as well, and Narbutas backs out of that one. Ziedas can't get through. He's got a car in between himself and the race 1 winner, which he desperately needs to pass.
Oh, there's no room.
Narbutas big block into the braking zone.
Here comes Bielskos.
Yep, he didn't have a great exit. Bielskos coming from behind.
There's going to be big blocking on the inside from Narbutas. What about Bielskos? He has to play smart here. Wow, late on the brakes goes Edvina Ziedas. Tries to stay around the outside. What a move. And it's almost over, and they touch.
No, he didn't make it stick because Narbutas had contact with him on the exit. I think Ziedas has finally done it, but look at the amount of time he's lost to the drivers in front. Cars going off track as...
I think Narbutas just backed out. He clipped Ziedas. I think he went off the throttle. Contact. Yeah, it wasn't on purpose, and I think Narbutas just stayed a little bit of throttle to not gain that position after that bump. That's why the cars slowed down and a train gathered behind Narbutas. Now Narbutas needs to stay focused, make no mistakes. He let Edvina Ziedas run a little bit further. Now there's a gap between himself and the rival, but look at Bielskos, look at Vincenchik. take a look at Gagliardi, Malakauskas and Talianos, a lot of cars willing to get into the top 10 places of the second race. A lot of battles happening behind. I think there's a couple of battles in front. Kashoni is still leading the race by 0.6 of a second. Karetskas stays 6th. Even though he has a pace advantage, that's not enough to gain on the cars while you keep battling. I think we have a couple of too wide into the chicane corner. That's Vilk and Jofert.
Yep, having some slight contact as well. That's giving a chance for Kashoni to run away at the front of the field. And Karatskas, well, he needs to get a move on, and I don't think he's got that many options to overtake as well, because everybody's in this slipstream train. And you can't really get through because everybody's kind of got the same speed at the end of the straight. A little bit of a defense from Vilk up in front. Gets that car stopped down into turn 1, but he's going to be under pressure on the exit. And he might be under pressure from a few cars as well, but I think he's held on to it. He's going to defend the inside as they're going to run down the hill. This is the view from Karatskas looking at the cars.
There's a contact!
In front.
Miškelis, I think that's Miškelis. Yep, Miškelis has been spun around, and unlucky again how smart he was in the first race, how unlucky he is in the second one. It was a little bit too tight there between the drivers, and sometimes...
Radekis incoming on Karatskas, who didn't have a good exit on to the back straight, and Radekis might have a chance to do something round the outside here.
Runs wide!
Nope, too wide, too wide. Flips the grass, but stays on track, but loses time.
There's a battle into that hill. There's Jofert and Wilk on Makushke corner on that top hill left-hand corner, running a little bit sideways, so there's still plenty of chances for the drivers because battles continue to happen on the racetrack. I wonder how Kajoni doesn't have a bigger advantage against the drivers that are in a very intense drive.
I thought they were going to come in free wide into turn 1. This is a chance now for Karatskas to make the move on Viglione, and I think he's going to do it. Maybe not. Nope. I thought he had a chance down into turn 1. I think he just backed out of it, tried to play it safe. Doesn't want to get involved in too many collisions here as he goes down the inside. I don't think he's going to have the advantage here. A slight contact as they rub doors as they head down the hill. Not going to happen, and I think Karatskas will have to back out of this one, or is he going to try and stay around the outside? Kind of does. This brings Radekis back into it. Oh, somebody off.
That's Malakauskas.
Malakauskas.
Back into that battle, sitting on the laps of Edmund Radekis. Karatskas knows that he needs to make the move.
Contact. He's been desperate. He went for a desperate move. He had contact. We'll see what the stewards think about that one, as Radekis now putting pressure on Karatskas. He's on the preferred line. Karatskas touches the grass a little bit on the exit, but I think he's going to keep it. He keeps 4th for now. He's going to have to hunt down the podium positions. That is crucial for him.
A very, very intense second race, and I'm pretty sure race control full hands of work at this moment, but I think a lot of penalties will be handed out after the race finishes. We still have plenty of action on the track, so no time for those decisions in these short sprint races. 11 minutes on the clock, still plenty of time for Adam Kajoni to build out that gap. He's already 1.6 seconds ahead of Jofert and runs undisturbed. He finished 10th in the first race. He's currently 1st in the second one. All points for the rounds for all the races will go towards the final results of the drivers. No drop rounds. Every round, every race that the drivers make will award the drivers with points. So you not only want to do good in one of the races, you want to do good in both of the races to have your best chance at the end of the championship to get that ride in that new BMW. A new class will be presented in the E-BaTCC championship. Everyone is very excited about it, and currently we have the very rare opportunity to enjoy and look at the cars on the virtual racetracks as Grantas Karetskas sets the fastest lap time of the second race so far, 1 minute 16.2. He was 3/10 faster than Edvin Žadeikis. As we continue to watch this nice battle for P2, Jofer tries to go into the inside of the corner, and they touch again. Another contact between the drivers of the top standings. This is not how you want your race to end. As you battle very fast drivers, you always hope for cooperation and understanding and respect on the racetrack. Jofer goes wide. He's the driver who forced his rival of the track, Vilk of the track. Now he's battling Karetskas. Karetskas has to be very careful, not only to avoid contacts, but he has Edvin Žadeikis right on the back. More rubbing and scrubbing. This time I think everything is regarding the rules, as Jofer goes sideways. Edvin Žadeikis goes sideways. Still goes for a very risky move, stays inside, and this time there will be no place gained for Edvin Žadeikis, as Jofer uses all the width of the racetrack and a little bit more goes on the grass. Edvin Žadeikis tries a very astonishing move, and it looks like this time it has worked out for Edvin Žadeikis. Still side by side into the first corner. Edvinas will have a tighter entry. There was a small contact. It was a small contact between both of the drivers. Not sure who's to blame there, but Jofer was very close on Edvin Žadeikis. No place on the outside. Maybe he didn't leave enough room for Edvin Žadeikis. Maybe Edvinas went a little bit wide. We leave that all for the race control to work it out after this race finishes, as Jofer gets behind Viglione now into P5. And there's Vincentic coming straight from behind, so still battles on the track live. And here, with 9 minutes on the clock, there's still not clear who will get which spot at the end. A very nice move to the inside, as Viglione makes a small mistake. And again, pushing his rival a little bit wider than expected, gaining that spot. Vincentic coming from behind, still was a little bit too far behind to get that spot from Viglione, and clipping the grass.
There's the grass on the entry. Yep, almost off the road. So everybody getting close to making mistakes here as the leaders come through. I'm just looking out for the lap times of our top two, and actually Kashoni going quicker than Karetskas the last 2 laps in a row. So Karetskas now down to 3.3 behind the lead. It's going to be difficult for him to catch up. This is Vincentic still in front of Talianos, holds on to that position, and he might have a chance to go down the inside. Nope, not gonna happen. So stays in position and gonna try and use that slipstream, but we've seen you need to have the advantage quite early to have a good chance of making a move. And yep. Oh, actually a little bit wide from Vincentic into the braking zone, but yep, keeps that position. Big battles behind though. This is Narbutas, Straupe and Gagliardini for 9th position out on track.
Yeah, everyone wants to finish at least in the top 10 places, where you get the most amount of points, and we have a very nice point system this year with bigger gaps between the top place finishers. I think it's 40 points for the first place, 30 points for the second place, 25 for the third. So there's 15 points gap between the first and the third place as we go 3 wide into the stadium corner. That's Narbutas, Straupe and Gagliardini. Narbutas stays in front, Straupe stays behind, and Gagliardini just watches this battle. This is some nice, close and respectful racing between the 3 drivers, as one would expect from his rivals. We've seen bigger contacts in the positions further ahead in the top 10 places, and now having Miškelis running 19th and Vilk 16th, 2 drivers who were the biggest victims of the bigger contacts. But that's the way it is. No drop rounds in this championship, so starting the first race strong and then involving in an accident is not the way for the drivers to start out the championship. But it's a long season, it's 5 rounds, 10 races in total. There will be 8 races on the calendar after this one finishes, so you never know how it's gonna go in the next races for your rival, so you have to stay there in the lower places, finish off the race, gather as many points as you can, and hope for the best in the next rounds, as we still see that battle between Narbutas, Straupe and Gagliardini. This time Straupe goes up into P9. He was involved in that big accident in the first race. He's now recovering and doing a phenomenal job, overtaking plenty of rivals, giving himself a very nice amount of points. Well, looking into very nice amount of points in this race. What else do we have on the racetrack? It looks like Jofert has managed to pull away slightly from Viglione and Vincentic. Radeikis all by himself trying to stick behind Grantas Kareckas, who was slightly faster the previous lap time. Kareckas was also slightly faster than Koscioni, but look at Koscioni. He was involved in small battles at the opening laps. He started first, dropped down to second, then regained that first spot and hasn't looked back. Maybe he preserved his tires, though Kareckas put in the fastest lap time so far. Radeikis is quite close. Look at the lap time of Koscioni. He was 8/10 slower. Still not too much of time on the clock for the drivers to gain on Koscioni, unless Koscioni makes another mistake as he did in the first race. So it's not over until you cross the finish line, so you have to stay focused, even though you're leading the race with a healthy amount of a gap. You still have to stay focused. Narbutas, Gagliardini and Speth. So it looks like Narbutas, maybe he has a little bit of damage on the car, because he was a little bit faster at the opening stages of the first race, but he was always involved in those big battles where scrubbing, rubbing and bumping was taking place on the track. Was that Bielskis running? No, that was Straupe running wide. Bielskis is trying to catch up with Talianos. And this is a very nice train of BMWs, freshly baked BMWs on the Nemuno Ziedas racetrack, trying to reach that finish line in higher places as they are currently at. Everyone's hopeful, everyone's focused. That's Svetins finding himself at the very back of this train, but he could finish in front of every driver who is currently ahead in this group of cars. Smallest mistake in front might give him a very nice chance to finish a little bit higher. 1.6 seconds between Koscioni and Kareckas. Kareckas continues to push. Edvin Radeikis was slightly slower. Koscioni was also slightly slower than Kareckas. So even if Grantas Kareckas finishes second in this race, he will have the most amount of points to his account. I'm pretty sure Edvin Radeikis will finish off this round in P2 overall, because Koscioni, even though he's currently in the lead and looks like, well, he will stay there unless something unexpected happens, he will not have enough points to compete against.
Well, Kareckas is really closed in, heavily closed in. It's 2 to go as they cross the line this time, and that gap continues to come down and come down heavily. Another half a second gained.
Oh, that's
big slide
Viglione.
from Viglione. He's having a struggle in this second race. Race 1 was calm. Race 2, very much less so, as Vincentic gets the position from him. And Talianos behind, maybe having a chance because Vincentic ran wide. So this is a chance for Talianos to go down the inside. More contact for Viglione. More contact actually with his teammate. Nope. Nope, looked like the same color of car. Nope, not a teammate, but Bielskis gets in front. Viglione, who was doing so well now down to 8th and struggling.
Yep,
Not much
on mistakes
chance.
by himself. He just ran wide in one corner, and that was more than enough to lose a couple of places. And now he's in a battle with Marius Bielskus, who is running the LIK Racing powered by KTK Racing division. What a big name in this season for the team. But this is a real livery that we will see during the coming season on the new BMWs.
That's now finally under a second for the lead. So, and looks like Kashoni may have ran wide. So this battle not over just yet. I said he's closing in, and he was closing in at massive amounts. Another half second taken out last lap. This is gonna be a battle right all the way to the line. Kashoni needs to not make a mistake here. That's all he needs to do. Don't make a mistake on the exit. Looks like he's just a little bit slow. But I think he might just about be able to hold on. Karetskas would have to put in an incredible move, a dive bomb of the century to do anything here into this braking zone. Kashoni just about stays ahead. Karetskas would have hoped for one more lap in this one, but it's not going to happen. Kashoni has to defend the inside just a little bit. He needs to hope he doesn't run too wide on the exit. It's going to be a drag race to the line, that's for sure. As Adam Kashoni, who started on pole because of his 10th place finish last race, I think he's just about going to hold on to the lead. It's not going to be enough for Grantas Karetskas. He's going to be just behind. Kashoni wins ahead of Karetskas, ahead of Žadeikis, ahead of Jofert, Vincentic, Talianos Viglione, who's had a struggle, Bielskus, Narbutas, and Gagliardini. That is your top 10 for race 2.
Looks like Viglione managed to overtake Bielskus on the final lap, unless I'm mistaken him with someone. No, that's actually Viglione.
He recovered the position.
Yep, exactly. So he managed to overtake Bielskus back for P7. Wow, but this race is almost over. There's still a couple of cars running on the racetrack. Vaškevičius, Kovalevsky, and Janušaitis will be the final car on the track to finish off this race. What else can I say? That was really hot, really intense, and something that we have expected from the first round of the virtual Baltic Touring Car Championship. First race on the Nemuno Ziedas racetrack, as we can finally relax ourselves, look through the unofficial results of the second race, and that's definitely unofficial results. We had plenty of contacts, plenty of battles on the racetrack. Race control is sweating now, looking through the incidents and trying to make decisions who is to blame, and is there anyone to blame who might lose the positions. But we can go through the results quickly, as these 4 identical IRT cars line up for what should be a photo after the finish. Look, we had 4 IRT cars on the racetrack. They look really nice here, trying to run slow to the pit lane to make some photo shoot. Yep, so the final results of the second race are Kashoni, Karetskas, and Žadeikis, your top 3 finishers. Jofert, Vincentic, Talianos, Viglione, Bielskus, Narbutas, and Gagliardini, your top 10 finishers, and followed by Nani, Straupes, Svetins, Jansons, Speth, Vilk, Dopio, Malakauskas, Meškelis, Juodis, Kalninč, Vaškevičius, Kovalevskis, and Janušaitis, top 20. Holds the last 24th place, as the drivers enjoy themselves still on this virtual Lithuanian racetrack. The next race will take place in 2 weeks' time on 13th of March. Same time, we will head over to Latvia, the famous Bikernieki high-speed ring. Yep, so hope you have enjoyed this opening round, which was very hot, offered plenty of battles on the racetrack. now we can go have a very nice evening. So thanks everyone for tuning in. And what else can I say? We will see you in 2 weeks for the second round, but we will see you on the World Sim Series platform a little bit faster. The next Tuesday, we will have the first round of the Porsche Championship. So go nowhere, and if you want to join this amazing racing action on the virtual racetracks, just head over to the World Sim Series platform. You still have time to join not only the BATCC Championship, but also the Porsche Challenge that's gonna take place in a couple of days.
Have a good night.
Gear up for the ride of your life. Shop.
I've been looking for it. I think I found something to help with easing the pain. This voice inside my head isn't dead. I think